You are now listening to the Be Your Own #Love Goals podcast with Moe Ari
and Tiffany.
We just want you to remember that every person, regardless of identity, wants these three things: belonging, authenticity, and love.
And after a decade of partnership, we've learned to co-create these things and so much more.
So from wherever you're listening, we're going to go on a journey of becoming our own #Love Goals. Now let's get into this episode. Hey, it's Moe Ari
and Tiffany.
And this is the Be Your Own Love Goals podcast. Thank you so much for having us.
Thank you so much for being here. We really appreciate y'all. I just want to take this opportunity. We want to take this opportunity to celebrate and honor the transgender community.
Yay.
Yay.
I was assigned female at birth. Mm-hmm. I identify as non-binary transgender. For anybody who is listening and not familiar with my journey, please go back and listen to some of those previous episodes around gender roles. Just go back and look through the episodes. You'll find some that talk more about my journey with Tiffany. And we're just excited today to just focus in on more aspects of my journey. And I'm grateful for Tiffany being really excited. She was like, let's do an episode for trans day of visibility. She's been one of my greatest allies in this journey. So Tiff, I'll let you take it away.
Absolutely. Thank you, Moe Ari. So as you mentioned, Mo, you have shared a lot on this podcast about your journey, what it's been like to come out, what it's been like to transition in the context of our relationship, your different community aspects as it's related to your journey. We want to know, I want to know, the people want to know.
The people want to know.
The people want to know. Where do you stand in your journey today? Your journey of transition, I know, is one that is ever evolving.
Yeah.
But I want to know, where do you stand today as a person in America, living as a transgender person? What is your journey like today?
It's a great question. So I would say that we're always in transition. Before I identified as transgender, as a therapist, in all of my bios, I would put, we're constantly in transition. And what that really means is that we're always evolving. We're always somewhere between who we were and who we're becoming. So I fundamentally believe that this is a part of the human experience, this evolution, this transition from one point to another, whether in my psychology profiles or my therapist profiles, it would often say whether you're in a new city, going from one job to the next, from one relationship to the next, one stage of your life to the next. So that means single to married, from being with your parents to college. I'm the therapist for you.
I love that.
Because transition really kind of captures nicely the human experience. We've never quite arrived. We're always on our way. But the beautiful thing about life is that life is lived on the way.
Yes.
So I see my journey of gender transition as becoming very comfortable in transition. The gender transition aspect of my life has really helped me to get very good with evolving, transforming, allowing myself to be made new, realizing new things, and then get started all over. The more we can become comfortable with that over the course of our lives, the better. It helps us to really stay anchored, even as everything in our lives are changing.
I love that. And it so reminds me of First Lady Michelle Obama's book, Becoming, where she talks about how, we're always on this journey of becoming. Yeah. And once we think that we have become, we keep becoming again.
Yeah.
And I think that speaks so beautifully to your journey. I mean, any person's journey of transition and evolution. So
thank you.
Thank you for sharing that.
Thank you.
So, this is where you are in your journey right now. And as a follow-up to that, I really want to know, as we think about Transgender Day of Visibility and always wanting to shine a light on the community and ensuring that the voices of the community are heard. What would you say, or how would you say you feel visible in this space and time, in this country, in this society as a transgender person? Do you feel seen?
Yeah.
Yeah.
That's a complicated question because a part of being seen is a part of being seen relies on another person to view me. So I would say I'm highly visible, whether people see me or not.
Wow. Yeah.
Is a whole other thing. And I'll say that what I care about more than just visibility as a transgender person is being visible as Moe Ari. So I want people to see me and not just see my identities, how I live my life. I don't want them to just see titles. I want them to see me for me. And this is particularly important because throughout the course of my gender transition, there were many moments where I realized people couldn't see me for a variety of different reasons. In the beginning, I thought people could only see how gender queer I was, that I was starting to grow facial hair, that my voice hadn't deepened. So I was talking like this. Probably wasn't that high, but I can't reach that voice anymore. I don't remember
it ever being that high.
But it was higher. Just thinking people only saw a gender queer person, not knowing how they were going to react to that. And so I think I got the shock of my life when I realized that people actually weren't experiencing me as a gender queer person. I know a lot of people are probably thinking like, how was that the case? How were they not seeing you as a transgender person? What people weren't seeing me as a transgender person as much as I thought that they were. They were seeing me as a Black man. So much of my gender transition has been grappling with that, wrestling with the fact that being a Black man in society kind of is going to be my predominant identity regardless. And it comes along with a lot of hard initiations into society. So it's definitely not for the faint of heart. And it has been its own coming of age in many different ways. And I say this, I'll explain it. So, for instance, I'd gone from being very, very femme presenting to starting to wear masculine clothing, cutting my hair. And and for a while, I would say that people would read me as just like a masked woman because I had very large breasts. As soon as I had top surgery, that changed. I hadn't even been on hormones that long. I started hormones a few days after top surgery. So as soon as my breasts were gone, people were starting to like look again and again, like, okay, how does this person present? How do they read? Now, mind you, my face hasn't changed. My smile hasn't changed, but people are looking, okay, you don't have breasts. You don't have these visible things that we decide are women. So what's going on for you? Like, okay, that could mean a lot of stuff. That's very problematic because we have people who have had double mastectomies, women who have had double mastectomies for other reasons. Why are you doing double takes? Okay. Then it became like, as my face started to change ever so slightly, because hormones changed your facial features slowly. It became, I don't want to get on the elevator with you anymore. So you go from being this person that people follow down the street because they like your mini skirt and heels to like walking to the other side when they see you coming, to getting on the elevator with me hesitantly and then pulling out pepper spray.
Crazy.
To literal surprise being on people's faces when I turn around the corner. So I was like, oh, people do not see me as a transgender person. That is not what is happening. That is not the fear that they have on their face. I know this fear very well because I grew up on the south side of Chicago and I have 4 older brothers. So I was well acquainted with what that was. And it wasn't me being transgender. So most of my gender transition was like not about gender. in the transgender sense of it.
Yeah.
It was about being a Black man. And I had to go through all these initiations that other Black men had gone through in their teens. I was going through them in my 20s, which is actually not a great time to have your first instances with the police. They're not a great time to have your first initiations into being having your body physically searched or harassed in any way. That's not a good time. I would say when you're 20, because then they're also the threat of you seeming like a threat is even more heightened.
Exactly.
You're not some little juvenile boy that they can toss around. You're like somebody's whole father. So the way that you come across as threatening to other people is graded. Wow. So I had all these initiations, and to answer all of that, I just wanted people in all those instances to see me as Moe Ari. Wow. To see the same smile that would make people want to walk alongside me on the street, to see the same eyes that are sincere that everybody was sitting with for 50 minutes every single week as their therapist. And that just went completely away. Yeah. It was like, you don't see me, you see a Black man.
You see a Black man.
And that's it.
Wow.
And it brought up a whole bunch of ancestral, generational, Black masculine things. And even though I identify as non-binary, I don't get away from this experience as a Black man. I don't get to I can't erase that I've lived that. Yeah. And it really changed my worldview. I didn't think I was going to get all those initiations.
I'm so sorry.
Well, yeah. I don't want you to feel bad for me, because in many ways it's given me the gravitas or the respect to walk into many spaces and say I'm a Black masculine person. Nobody gets to take that away from me.
That's true.
It's in my walk, it's in my talk, it's in like my lived experience. And so when I enter rooms, people take me seriously because I carry a level of, I didn't been through it.
Okay.
And I carry a level of compassion and love and empathy, but I can't say that I could have been fine without those experiences. And at the same time, I'm grateful because for the work that I need to do in the world, I need to be able to say to people, I'm the real deal. We're not questioning whether or not I've lived this thing because I'm transgender. Because at the end of the day, people see a Black man. They could care less that I am transgender. I'm saying that loud. It's probably the first place I've ever said that. People could care less. At the end of the day, I am a Black man when I go to the bank. I'm Black man when I go everywhere else. That's what people see. That is how people treat you. Yeah. And it's a challenge for so many different reasons. But I'm gonna pause that there. You didn't ask for all of that.
No, this is great. I think this Blackness being so centered to your identity, even as a transgender person, is something that maybe a lot of people are not even aware of. Yeah. And arguably, these two identities, being Black and being transgender, many would argue are some of the most marginalized identities to date, particularly in this country, right? Yeah. You have chosen to identify with both of these, right? Yeah. Could you speak more to like your courage, your ability to want to be authentic, knowing how marginalized these identities are? Like, I'm sitting here like, being transgender, I'm sure that comes with so many challenges. Yeah. And then to hear you say that your Blackness sometimes even overpowers that. It's like, okay, Moe Ari, you chose to be transgender and masculine in this lifetime and Black. Yeah. Talk to me more about your journey to be authentic, even knowing the potential challenges that both of those identities will cause.
I think about earlier moments where I was in group therapy, exploring my gender identity before I ever had surgery or took any hormones. And I remember witnessing all these other group members of different races other than Black talking about their experiences. They were at other points in their transition. They had been, many of them had been through surgery or had taken hormones. And so they were talking about some of the oppression that they were experiencing, the difficulties they were having with work and different relationships or even going down the street. And I remember having this moment that changed how I knew I was going to relate to this whole process.
Mm-hmm.
I remember having this moment where I said out loud, but I had first said to myself, being a Black woman prepared me for this journey as a transgender person.
Wow.
So there was a moment earlier where you said that being Black, being a Black man and being trans are some of the most marginalized identities. And I'm glad you said some of the most marginalized identities, because when I think about growing up as a Black woman, I remember how many limitations were placed upon my body, how many moments in which I felt constricted, how many moments I felt unsafe, how many moments I felt unprotected, all the traumas I've been through, including sexual violence. I understand that marginalization well. So my experience as a little Black girl on the south side of Chicago, then into a young Black woman, then transitioning into the person that I am now, all of that felt necessary. It felt like an important journey that really taught me a lot about what it was going to mean to be transgender in society, where people have all of this negativity to say. They don't want us to learn about our history. They don't want us to learn about transgender identity. This stuff has been happening to Black people for so many years. Our struggles are inherently linked. So I knew at a point it was important that with all the identities that I carry, that my body be carrying all of that. Because we have to join the struggles. There has to be a coalition at a point where we say enough is enough. We're not going to be removing anybody's history. We're not going to be oppressing anybody's identity. We're not going to be attaching fear, hatred, disrespect to anybody's body.
Yeah, absolutely.
So I guess where I am today, with all of that, with carrying with carrying multiple marginalized identities, is really understanding that there's an opportunity for me to bridge worlds that were often separate. You know very well as a Black queer woman how sometimes it feels like you're either Black or you're queer.
Absolutely.
But there are many of us living at those intersections.
So many.
Loving in those intersections. Dancing in those intersections. There's so much life that happens at those intersections. But often we're separated. And I know at this point, I realize it's been intentional in my design, in my creation, that I come here and live, laugh, love proudly at those intersections. So that I can show people there's a possible world where we just get to be all of ourselves. You don't have to choose to be Black or white or trans you don't have to do any of that. You just get to be Moe Ari. You get to be Tiffany. That's what I want my legacy to be when I leave here. One, I just want it to be love. And if not that, just love on the head, I want people to be like, Moe Ari was Moe Ari.
Moe Ari was Moe Ari.
Yeah.
And I think you're well on your way.
Thank you.
To being that. And it really speaks to how important it is to see the whole of a person, to see them in wholeness.
Yeah.
Because, even through your transition and your journey, you've always been Moe Ari.
Thank you.
You've always carried that spirit. You've always carried that. I love that smile.
It's a badge of honor.
I couldn't even keep going. Like, you've always been that. And although, your Blackness kind of sits front and center many times, I think that these other identities are so important to the visibility of the transgender community, but also to your mission of love and your mission to be Moe Ari, and ultimately your mission to be radically authentic.
I receive.
Because as you go about this world and you live, you love, and you dance proudly, as you said, people are invited into you as Moe Ari, and they might not know you're transgender in the moment. I mean, they can see you're Black. They might not know these other things about you, but they fall in love with you at the point where you're Moe Ari, and then these other pieces of your identity unfold, and they're like, "Oh, I see this person.
I see you.
I see you, and I love this person." So I think, I'm just calling out how important it is, or it seems, well, I know how important it is to show up in wholeness, right? Particularly, my follow-up question to this was going to be that I can imagine in your transition and in your journey, community has played a huge role in maybe affirmation for you, maybe celebration, support, a shoulder to cry on, like so many different things. As we think about, your approach to having community, what has your wholeness journey look like in that?
That's a good question. The journey of wholeness definitely began internally. It was important for me to show up to my community and say, I'm still Moe Ari. I might be answering to a different name, but I'm still Moe Ari. Yeah. And for that realization came to many people quickly. They go, you just you.
Yeah.
Other people had to be told directly, I am just me.
Yeah.
And they go, it's like an exhale moment. And to get to that place, I had to go on that journey internally to affirm from myself, you just you. You have always been you. I had to free this idea even of a closet that I should have told somebody, or I needed to come out of. Actually, I decided, I just dreamt of a world. Like, what would it be if I was just being accepted and authentic?
Yeah.
That would be a world without closets, because we're not making assumptions about who people are. So I was like, well, if I want that world to exist, I have to operate from that. That means that telling people about who I am was an invitation for them to get to know me better. That was an invitation for intimacy, not some type of revealing the truth about me or something, revealing a secret. So when I decided to share with people that I'm transgender, it was not this big secret revealing ceremony. It was a declaration of truth about myself, and it was an invitation for greater intimacy and relationship with me.
Absolutely.
But that required a level of wholeness internally to say, hey, I'm still Moe Ari. We're still Moe Ari.
That internal shift is so important. For anyone, because I truly believe that we were all born whole, right? We are the wholeness of who we are. Now, how we interact with the different parts of ourselves, can change, and how we invite people in to see that can change. But you were born as Moe Ari, right? And so, like you're saying, it's been very important to, one, do that internal work to know that, and to also invite other people in to see that. And like you're saying, it's not a secret. It wasn't like locked away in some closet. It's always been there. It's just allowing that invitation for other people to come witness and to allow yourself to be seen, honestly.
Yeah. And it's so important, because if we don't come to those conversations whole, then other people's opinions, thoughts, judgments can really rock our experience. We're not going to another person to complete us. So we're not seeking validation of who we know that we are if we are already complete.
Exactly.
So even what Tiffany just said is a powerful one, that we are born whole. Because a lot of people could take that to mean, well, you're born with certain anatomy, so you already are complete. That's not what she's saying.
That's not what I'm saying.
When she says you're born whole, she means you come here knowing who you are.
Exactly.
And a lot of the things that we get taught on our journey throws us off track.
Exactly.
We forget our mission. We forget why we do what we do, or who we are. And we get told a lot of messages about who we're supposed to be. wholeness isn't about your physical anatomy. That's just not what this is
Say
about.
It louder for the people in the back.
And there's biological sex is different than gender.
Yes.
You can have certain anatomy and still want to dress yourself in a particular way. Mm-hmm. There is nothing that is biologically written that you have a vagina, you have to wear a dress. That's absurd.
Absurd.
So when I think about wholeness, we're all born naked. RuPaul says we're all born naked. The rest is drag. Mm-hmm. We're all born naked. So we choose every moment from then on, we choose how we want to dress that body. We're born whole though. Mm-hmm. Mm-hmm. Meaning we know who we are. Yeah. If we want to go through medical procedures, if we want to take testosterone, whatever, that is our journey. Mm-hmm. Only we know. Yep. So being confident in our understanding of who we are, mm-hmm. what we're here to do, who we are here to be, mm-hmm. is very vital, because by the time you get to other people and they got their fear and they've got their worry and anxiety about medical processes and all of this, mm-hmm. you would get put off track even more. Yeah. So my journey was about affirming first for myself, declaring first for myself. That's why I did my name change before anything. I needed to decide for myself who I was going to be. Mm-hmm. And I tell everybody it felt like my birthday. Mm-hmm. I was giving myself new life. Mm-hmm. And sometimes we have to decide for ourselves in a ritualistic way who we're going to be. You think about a lot of great people, they changed their name. All of us are great. Yeah. But a lot of people who have left a very big legacy here, mm-hmm. they changed their name before they went into this very big moment in mm-hmm. their lives. Mm-hmm. And it's because that self-determination, that saying for yourself who you're going to be, is so powerful. Yes. And it's a lesson in evolution and transforming. I don't know where I was going with that, but I hope y'all got something good.
You took us where we needed to go. And I was going to say that even when you changed your name, it was such an intimate, personal experience and process for you, quite literally. Yeah. I think I and your twin sister was the only people that even knew mm-hmm. about this, because it really speaks to how internal that was for you, right? Yeah. Like you had to have witnesses, obviously, and I'm your partner. Yeah. But even inviting your parents or other people into that journey, not that you were just being in secret or hiding, mm-hmm. it was very much a personal, internal process and work for you. Yeah. And I really commend you for understanding the importance of that internal shift, because if you didn't have that, if you didn't have this awareness of who you are, how you want to show up in the world, if you didn't allow Moe Ari to see Moe Ari, mm-hmm. nobody else was going to see Moe Ari. Mm-hmm.
Yeah. Yeah. Mm-hmm. That's powerful. This reflection is powerful. You know, yes. Telling people what you want to be called is really important. Yes. Some people will say it's not what you're called, it's what you answer to. I think Medea said that. It's not what you're called. It's not what you're called, it's what you answer to. Yeah. I believe that. And I want to add that what you are called becomes important when you ask specifically for yourself to be called something.
Mm-hmm. Exactly.
So that moment became really important to me in my journey of honoring myself, having respect for myself. I had to honor what felt right for me. I think many people have asked me, like, how did you know you were transgender? Mm-hmm. And the way that I feel like I've always been able to answer this question is through euphoria, this internal compass around what feels right and what doesn't feel right. So when I hear people call me Moe Ari, something happens to my heart. It's like it skips a couple beats. A smile forms in the corners of my mouth, and I just smile. When I hear somebody call me the wrong name, that does not feel good. Yeah. That's a visceral, like, no. We can understand this on a human level. When something doesn't feel right to us in our gut, we go like this. We lean away and we don't want to participate in that. Somebody's violating a boundary and you're saying no. No means no. It's because it doesn't feel right. So we've learned to follow that the same way I've learned to follow my intuition when it comes to myself. If something feels right, I know.
Mm-hmm. Mm-hmm.
The way that
You
I
know.
feel when I look in the mirror at a body that has a flat chest and like facial hair growing
Yeah.
brings me joy. So I
Mm-hmm.
know.
Mm-hmm.
We don't really have to question that more. I won't go further into that, but that's how I know.
Yeah.
I look more at my joy than I look at my
Oof.
challenges to understand who I am.
And we all can learn from that,
Yeah.
transgender or not. And but I'm so glad you mentioned that because it also even reminds me of the story as you're talking about when someone says Moe Ari, the level of euphoria and joy that you feel.
Yeah.
I'm thinking about, a little person that doesn't necessarily call you Moe Ari,
You
but
talking
calls
about
you
Nova.
daddy. And how you have talked about the euphoria that you felt when she first did, and I'm sure it's like ongoing euphoria and joy when you hear those words come from her.
Yeah. Absolutely. It's like a
Yeah.
really precious moment
Yeah.
in that particular journey.
Yeah. Wow. I I just want to say that you're living, you're loving, particularly in a radically authentic way for people that are transgender and people that are not, in and of itself is so powerful
Thank you.
because it encourages me on a daily basis, and I'm sure encourages other people to just be who they
Mm.
want to be.
Yeah.
And to be who they want to be, even knowing that there's potential that those identities are marginalized. Those
Yeah.
identities come with a level
Yeah.
of challenge,
Yeah.
but your need to just be who you are outweighs
Yeah.
all of that.
Yeah.
And so I just want to say that that is a real gift that
Mm.
you are offering to the world. And like you're seen by me. I'm sure you're seen by so many people, so many of our viewers. So thank you.
Well, I appreciate it. I Yeah, I'm just receiving it.
Yeah.
I It feels good to be seen, feels very good to be visible, and I
Mhm.
hope that I encourage other people to allow themselves to be seen,
Mhm.
to shine their lights brighter every single
Mhm.
day,
Mhm.
to not let what other people say to discourage you from being yourself. We live in a world where some people who are divisive and want to separate other people have very large platforms and are just very loud.
Yeah.
And that's why it's important that those who want to leave legacies of love and want to build community and coalitions across diversity, build even bigger platforms
Mhm.
and get even louder with
Mhm.
compassion,
Yes.
respectfully,
Respectfully.
we we don't have to leave those people who are out there marginalizing other people. We don't have to leave them with the as the only people with the
Mhm.
megaphones, you
Mhm.
know?
Mhm.
We're in a different day and time where mobilization, activism can look so different. It doesn't just have to be with a sign out front of, you know, a government building. It can sometimes be on your social media. So if
Mhm.
I could say anything to people about
Yeah.
allyship, is to be more inclusive, be
Mm.
more celebratory than you are inclusive.
Mm.
Well, be inclusive, but focus very hard on celebration.
Yeah.
Shift from just focusing on inclusivity, because inclusivity is more like, come on over here and sit with
Yeah.
us over here. Come to where we are.
Exactly.
Celebration is about creating a world where we all belong and we are proactively celebrated
Mhm.
and proactively engaged just for being our authentic selves.
Mhm. Mhm.
Yeah.
Yeah. Thank you for sharing that, Mo. That is a beautiful love resource to share with our viewers because I know that so many of our listeners are allies and
Mm,
so many people just want to celebrate and love on you and
mm,
so many people in the transgender community. So these are very helpful tools to walk away with. I think it is just so important to celebrate all people
mm,
and particularly the transgender community and these communities that are often so marginalized. It is so important to celebrate, like you're
mm,
saying, and be proactive in that celebration.
mm,
So I am so grateful that you shared
mm,
that. I'm so grateful to have this platform and space to just take a pause
mm.
and honor and recognize and celebrate all of the beautiful and amazing people that are a part of the transgender community. And I just want to say that I see you, Mo sees you, we see you here at Be Your Own Love Goals, and we celebrate you all year round, but particularly on Transgender Day of Visibility. So I am grateful for you. I'm grateful to be on this journey with you and witnessing. It is a great honor and privilege to stand by you and get a front row seat. I feel very blessed. So I am grateful.
I feel really honored to have you with me on the journey to having you at my side, behind me, in front of me, just doing all of the things to make sure that the path is clear. That, you know, as often as you can, you know, you're having conversations with family, you're doing all of the things to be a great ally. And I hope that I'm also the same to you in all of the ways that I can be. Like, again, I am at the intersection of many marginalized identities, and so are you. So, you know, this is a collective effort for us to just be people that hold each other up in our communities. So I'm just really grateful to have you as a partner for just all of the unconditional love. Every iteration of me has been loved, accepted, and seen by you. It's really comforting at night to know, you know, my partner, she loved me when I had mini skirts. She loved me when I got a beard. She loved me when I cut all my hair off.
All of that.
I better not cut this beard off again.
You better not.
But I appreciate that. You know, you really have been there with me through some really, you know, challenging moments that were traumatic for you. And you've been with me through some really high mountaintop experiences.
Absolutely.
So it's really beautiful, especially in those moments where we get to see together the product of our work and get to enjoy the life we've built together. That's very, very like rewarding for me. And, you know, for many people in our community, it's not the case. So I definitely feel blessed and committed to doing something really good with what we've been given.
Yeah, absolutely. Absolutely. I receive all of the love. And I hope anyone listening or watching this also can feel the love that we're sharing with one another, but also to all of you.
Yeah. We love you all.
Love you.
Well, this has been a really great episode of the Be Your Own Love Goals podcast with Moe Ari
and Tiffany.
We hope you all have a great day and be well.
Bye. If you're listening to this on Apple Podcasts, don't forget to rate, review, and subscribe. Video episodes are on YouTube and Spotify.
If you want your question included in an upcoming episode, feel free to reach out to us on Instagram at Be Your Own Love Goals or check out our website at lovegoalspodcast.com. We look forward to hearing from you soon.
Bye.